I'm with a decorated filmmaker and photographer right now. Spencer, you want to introduce yourself?
What's going on, everybody? My name is Spencer Hawkins. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, and creative director here in the Southeast.
All right, so I guess today we're just going to be interviewing Spencer, getting a little insight to his creative process, what he's done, and also talk a little about filmmaking and photography in the Southeast. So, let me start off with just asking you, like, what kind of films you make, what kind of photography do you do, and, how'd you get here?
Well, I think for films, I haven't made really enough films to really find my niche in it. But for now, I do documentaries because it's a lot easier to tell a story about my life than it is to make up one. Because prior to coming to Auburn, I had no experience with filmmaking. So when I met, a couple guys around here, you, Michael, Raina, y'all pretty much experienced. I learned a lot from y'all. But for now, I just do documentaries. Photography, I do a lot of low light photography because it's my favorite. And I apply cinematography to photography. That's why if you look at a lot of my photos, it looks like it's a still from a movie or it's telling the story. I don't really like poses in my photography. I like it to be all natural. I like 2 or 3 things going on at one time in a photo because it makes you look at it longer.
Yeah.
It looks more memorable.
Okay. I like that, yeah. So you're talking about low light. I guess Sony's the best for low light. You want to kind of tell them why you shoot Sony and
Shout out Sony.
and also the other cameras you shoot on, because you do a lot of film too.
Yeah, so the reason I shot on Sony is because I want to achieve a certain picture at a certain price, and so best bang for your buck, and I really feel like Sony was the best bang for my buck. When I first got in, I actually had a Canon. I don't remember what kind, but I know it was like $300. I bought it back in 2017. I probably did photography for like 3 months and I quit right after that because I couldn't produce the images that I wanted. And the reason why is because I didn't know about megapixels. I didn't know if you want a higher sensor, a larger sensor, you need to get a better camera, which costs a lot more money. And I was like, well, I don't have $1,000. I got 300, but I ain't got 1,000. So I put it down for about, 3 or 4 years, took a crazy hiatus, and then I picked it back up, grabbed a A6400 back in Christmas time 2020, started shooting a little bit, shot the A6400 for a while. I did my homework this time, did a lot of research, and I said, okay, it's time to upgrade to a big boy camera, what I want to get. And, I was already familiar with the Sony system, so I didn't want to switch over because I wanted a hybrid camera. And so it's between, the A7 IV wasn't out then, that's the main camera I shoot on now, A7 IV. So I think it just had like the A7S III and the A7 III. So I was trying to figure out which one do I want. Even the R3 too. I was like, but which one I want? I lied to you not, 2 weeks later, the A7 IV came out. I was like buying that one because I need a hybrid.
Yeah.
And so I just prefer Sony. I feel like Sony's color is very cinematic. Using the logs, learning how to use them. So that's why I stuck with Sony.
Okay, I got you. So you mentioned at first that you started out with photography, but now, you've gone to all these festivals with your films. So what got you into filmmaking?
I really say what got me to filmmaking is because my parents used to always call me like the family critic when it came to watching movies. They're like, you prefer, you suggest good movies, and I just, I like the colors, everything. I like how storytelling, it was pretty cool. I was like, I wonder if I can do that. I used to crack jokes like, hey, what if I could be an actor? What if I could be a filmmaker? And so when I first picked up the camera back then, the A6400, from the jump, I wanted to be a filmmaker. I said, okay, I got a camera, learn how to filmmake. I was watching some Sam Coder and Mike Koziel. Mike Koziel mostly does, he's based out of LA. He mostly does a lot of car cinematography because I'm a big car enthusiast. Yeah. And Sam Coder does a lot of travel vlogs, dealing with cinematography. So I try to, fuse both of them together. And so those 2 were like pretty much my inspirations for trying. Because I remember when I was thinking about buying a camera, it was like it's like October 2020. I watched like a ton of Sam Coder videos because I found out about him. I was like, okay, for real, I'm gonna lock this in. I didn't have a hobby. I was stuck in Ohio at school. I was like, I need something. I need a creative outlet. So I was like, let's get this camera. Let's try it out. And the only reason I did photography for a while is because I didn't know how to make films. So I was like, photography is a lot easier. It's a lot easier to find a model than it is an actor. So
True.
Yeah, that's why I stuck with it. But then I said, okay, let's do filmmaking. I just had to say, F it, let's do it. When I got to Auburn, I made my first film. I think it was called Breaking Point. I don't even know how to remember it. called Breaking Point. Oh, the audio was so trash in it. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was, doing free balling it, freestyling it, making up. Every scene was made up. You know how I be doing. Every scene was made up. I didn't know what to expect from it. I said, hey, let's just do something. And then once I start, going with the flow, every scene after, doing scene after scene, I said, hold up, I kind of see like I could turn this to a story a little bit, So I pretty much made it about like suicide, and it's because some of my friends contemplated it. So pretty much that movie was like an apology to him for like, hey, sorry for ignoring y'all. I didn't see the signs. It wasn't anything for attention or anything about me. It was more of like me apologizing to him. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I didn't know how to express myself growing up, so I do it through films now.
I totally get that. Yeah. So you said it was a lot easier to find a model rather than an actor, and we're in Auburn University right now. Do you want to talk about some of the disadvantages to being in the Southeast and at a SEC school, which doesn't have a large film program or a liberal arts school in general, and just the difficulties of making a movie here?
Uh, I would say there's some disadvantages. I don't see it as it too bad because it makes you just go out and find people and make you kind of a better director of how to approach people. But I say a big disadvantage here is that everybody would like to be a model because we're about an hour and a half from Atlanta, so big entertainment industry. Everybody's stuck on being an Instagram model instead of a real model. So it's a lot harder to work with people down here. They bring nothing to the table. They always like to say, "Hey, I want to make a film. I want to, do something." But hey, what do you have in mind? Oh, nothing. Whatever you want to do. And,
Mm-hmm.
like that doesn't help. So it's really hard because you really can't find anybody that's experienced with a camera. Experience in any field. Whatever you like in, you can't find somebody who's good in it. What if you're just not good at anything? As you saw with the liberal arts program, is that we kind of had to find each other. I'm in the College of Liberal Arts, even though I'm in aviation, but we just found each other. I just joined a new media club. I said, hey, I want to start making films, and Auburn had a media club. My old school did, and I said, it's a stepping stone, it's the first step. You guys were talented, and then we just put everything in together. Put our talents together just to create something. But it's very hard because it really forces you to go out and find somebody. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. What I did was I went to our neighboring school, Tuskegee, down the street. I said, hey, look, man, I'm trying to find actors. Let's do this. Use your resources. I'm very big on utilizing my resources. So I went down the street, like, hey, look, hey, y'all trying to make some films, people, because I feel like there is a lot of talent there, but they lack the resources. Is that if they came to Auburn, they will really know how to utilize the resources here. I think the people at Auburn, there's some talent in them, but they just have to find it, and they don't know how to do it because, like you said, the program is very small, so they're underexposed.
All right, so I kind of want to talk about the Tuskegee Film Club and also Auburn's. So Auburn's film program is called Visual Media, and the Auburn Film Club, which is the filmmakers club called Auburn's New Media Club. I was the vice president this past year, and then also, what's the Tuskegee Film Club called?
Golden Tiger Cinema Club,
All right.
GTC family.
So what I'm hearing is that Tuskegee's film club has about 130 members right now, who are the majority are active, wanting to make films. But with Auburn and the Auburn New Media Club, we hosted meetings each week, and um, we couldn't get anybody to come. I mean, there was a good group of people who came, but it did not get over about 10, 15 people. And what I just want to point out is that Auburn, although it's not a lot of money coming in for the film resources, it's still a large portion that we can do something with. And I think Tuskegee's doing a great job right now because they got the opposite problem that they need more resources to make films because they have people um, who have passion to go out and make the films. Whereas Auburn, we have at least some resources, but I just felt like there was no passion, no push to go out and make these
There's no
films.
drive.
Yeah. So hopefully, in the next year or so, Tuskegee's film club and Auburn's can kind of come together and hopefully start making some stuff, so we can utilize the resources of both clubs. So, but you're more tapped in with the Tuskegee Club. You want to talk about what they're doing and their goals for the year.
Yeah, so with the GTC family, I think it got kicking last spring. I think it was on hiatus and they just came back. It wasn't a lot of members. I think it was about 30. And then now I think, they're just like, hey, we got to get a little more active. We just got back going. So it jumped from 30 to 130 people in the group chat and a lot of people are active. We just had a meeting with them about 2 Sundays ago. I think it was 50 people that made it. The others were busy. But they all got up there and they introduced themselves. They all said what they wanted to do. They had a lesson plan laid out. They said, hey, look, we're going to try to have a film festival at the end of the year. Not nothing big of where like, oh, come in, dress up. It's more like, hey, it's more relaxed, like a kickback. We're going to just, get some snacks, put on all the films that you guys try to make this semester, doing themes of what's your favorite movie, dress up as your favorite character, like getting real active with everything. And so I kind of serve as like I call it the community liaison between Auburn and Tuskegee. It's like I'm not really too active because I got my own stuff going on. Y'all know. But I try to be there to help. Kind of serve as like a little advisor too. Like, hey, look, if you guys need anything, help on how to write a film, write lighting. I can try to connect you with the right people. And they were all down for it. Like, we talk in our group chat about every day or every other day. It'd be about anything. We'll talk about movies, characters, Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon, small stuff like that. Get everybody going. They're currently in the process of making shirts for us of, people who wrote films. I think there's 2 or 3 filmmakers in there, including myself, because a lot of them are freshmen or sophomores. So they're like, hey, look, I love, I had interest in cinematography and I would like to learn a lot about it. A lot of them are at the beginner level, but I do appreciate the passion because, like, even though you're at the beginner level and a lot of them don't really know too much, they're, willing to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I was like, I'll help you because they shouted me out. They're like, hey, look, you're the only one who's been in film festivals. You're the only one who's won awards for both photography and filmmaking. I don't really think about it like that because I just be on, I just kind of did that stuff to see if I can get in. It wasn't really to brag. I was like, let me see if I get in a film festival. Let me see how far I can make it in like a photography contest. You know what I mean? I just want to test my work against professionals and other students, around the country. But they're very active, and I'm definitely going to, I've been trying to collaborate with them. Like, hey, look, I host a sponsor movie night over there. A lot of them say, hey, look, who's making a film, who's writing a film, put all of our talents together. Because some of them are published authors. They got books on Amazon. I remember one of my friends, shout out Malcolm, he wrote a book and he wrote a lot of screenplays. It's like, I'm trying to put it into motion, but I can't really find anybody who can help me direct this stuff. You say, I'm a writer, but I'm not a director. So I was like, hey, look, man, let's get this stuff going because there's a lot of talent over there. And, if we collaborate Auburn and Tuskegee, man, this thing can take off easily. Look at everything that you and Michael did. Y'all got the film festival, had like 3 or 4 sponsors, and it was cool. Like, that was the first film festival I ever been to. I love seeing different films around the Southeast, man. I love seeing the talent because I'm like, a lot of y'all got some talent out there. And the people at Auburn, I don't know how many Auburn people are actually in the film festival. I know it's me, Sam, and the president, I think it was Carson, but I don't know who else was there after that. I'm like, wow, it's so many of y'all. It's so many of y'all. Y'all have the resources. Y'all got cameras that the school literally gives y'all a camera to work with. Why aren't y'all making stuff? Why are you being passionate? I think they don't really know what to do. I think they're more into like being on set and
Hmm.
working behind the scenes. Serving as like a videographer or I wouldn't say a DP, more like an assistant or anything, instead of actually going out there and making their own films.
So I hear you talking about the Tuskegee Film Club, and that sounds like a good community full of passion and like although you don't have like they don't have all the resources, they're still trying, whereas Auburn has the resources and we can't find anybody that will work on extracurricular films and stuff. And film, at least in the southeast, it's something that you can't excel at without a community of people behind you. And so, I mean, we found like a tight group of people, but other than us, I haven't seen anybody out making a film anywhere at Auburn. Which I'm not trying to jank Auburn. I know, you know, some people are trying, but I feel if we can connect Tuskegee with Auburn, they can both help each other out a lot and put us on the map somewhere. And the more recognition that Auburn and Tuskegee gets for films, hopefully the school will look at them and put in more money into the curriculum. Because right now, I I have I've left Auburn because the lack of resources that we had.
You gotta do
I
what you gotta
think
do.
the beginner camera at SCAD, which is where me and Michael and Daniel are transferring to, uh, the beginner camera they give you exceeds almost the camera they give you for the senior projects at Auburn, and yeah, it's kind of sad. All right, something I noticed this past year in the Auburn New Media Club is I was only in the intro classes, and the only upperclassman who was in the visual media major that was affiliated with the club was our president, Carson.
Shout out Carson.
And I find this, awful because we need to create a community at Auburn that allows for those more experienced to reach out to these younger filmmakers to show them how it's done, because nobody taught me. Paul, shout out to Paul, the professor, the intro professor. He's the only teacher who taught me how to film make, and he was the only one involved with the club and with the film festival. There was a couple other media teachers at the film festival, but I didn't see the ones who taught filmmaking at the film festival or any of the upperclassmen. And I think this is crazy, because why is the film festival getting ran by freshmen and sophomores when they don't even, like, they barely know how filmmaking works. We're new to this. Where are the upperclassmen showing us how to do it? And so I shout out Tuskegee because tell us a little bit, because you were gonna go help them out with the workshop, you said, and they you said that they cloned Tyrone directors coming to speak with them too. We're not, the Auburn New Media Club or our classes didn't have anybody from outside who worked in the industry to come help us out.
Yeah, so I kind of serve as like a little advisor to them. They asked me to host. They asked the filmmakers in there to host a little workshop. I think it's like three of us who already made films, and they're like, we're not really looking for anything too professional. Just want to see your creative process, how you did things. Probably break down a film. I was like, yeah, that's too easy. Okay, I don't mind. Sharing the knowledge, because there's probably a lot of filmmakers that are probably just like me, if not way better. They just need to be exposed. And so they also invited me over there because the director of the movie They Clone Tyrone, it was on Netflix. He's from Tuskegee. I don't know if he went to university, but he's from there. And I think one of the actors in the movie went to Tuskegee. So he's coming to talk to the students, I think, in a couple of weeks. So they invited me to come out there. I don't care if I got to skip class, bro. Like, that's,
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out there and try to make some connections, because with me, every time I try to make connections, I try to bring them back. I'm also a brand ambassador for Max. So I said, I met one of the creative directors at HBO. I met some of the editors, and I'm trying to bring them in as a guest speaker, for the New Media Club, and even what's it called, Golden Tiger Cinema, or even have a collaboration where, everybody gets on Zoom and he just, zooms in and just answers any questions and give a little bit about their background. It's all
Word.
about, giving back. And I think people don't know how to, give back anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, you trying to grow this industry. I'm in the School of Aviation, and generals come back. The chief of staff for the Air Force, for people who don't know, that's the highest ranking officer in the Air Force. He came. He didn't even go here, but he came and talked because somebody knew him, through the grapevine, came and talked to all of us. I met him. I met the pilots for the movie Top Gun that actually did the actual flying. Tom Cruise's stunt double. Well, Tom Cruise was technically the stunt double because he wasn't flying. But yeah, they came in and they spoke to us. But it's all about giving back. I'm always trying to expose people. Like I said earlier, I'm big on resources. Because I'm about to graduate. So who's gonna take over when I graduate?
Yeah.
I serve as the liaison. I'm like the bridge between Tuskegee and Auburn. And when I leave, who's gonna be that bridge? So I'm like, hey, establish connections now.
Yeah. I think we can set something in motion starting this year. But that's another thing that you don't have to go to film school or study film to get into film, but when you do, a lot of what helps through a film school is the connections. And I've talked to a lot of people who've graduated from Auburn in visual media, and like, I don't want to jank on them, but they're doing things that you can do without the degree. So I'm not saying that this is pointless, but I'm saying we need to build better connections for Auburn and also Tuskegee, so that when people do graduate, that they can have that they can already have that knowledge of what goes on in the industry and have the connections to be able to get the jobs that they need.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think the president of Golden Tiger Cinema, Tuskegee, her friend is like an animator for Futurama.
Oh,
And she
really?
said she's gonna have her come in like speak to them because like anybody, she just asked like anybody want to do animation in here, we'll have somebody come in and speak. And it's all that's what I'm saying, like stuff like that, come give back. You
Yeah.
know, with me, if like I don't know where I'm gonna go, I might end up in the entertainment industry, I might end up in aviation. Either way, I'm gonna come give back. Anybody who's interested, no matter if you go to Clemson, Georgia, I'll come back. It's all about exposure. It's about really who you know.
Yeah.
Like even with my internship, I told them how, I think in school of aviation is 1,000 pilots and 10 of us are black. And so they're like, hey, look, well, we're going to come down and, sponsor an event with y'all. It's all about that. All you got to do is, it don't hurt to ask.
No.
The worst they can do
Yeah.
is say no, right?
Yeah.
How would you know unless you ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully, me and Michael and Daniel, since we're on our way over to SCAD, we can somehow connect the students over there, and maybe some faculty over at Savannah, and try to connect the students at Auburn and Tuskegee over to SCAD to help build up this film community in Auburn, Alabama, and Tuskegee. So yeah.
Well, I like to say something for the filmmakers. Utilize your resources, and what I mean by that is that if you can't find actors, ask your friends. And I might have said this in one of Sam's other videos, but my friends can't act for shit. Like I said, I have to say it again. They can't act, so I pretty much wrote a role that they can play. So at the end of the day, they're kind of playing themselves. Or hey, look, if you don't want them to act, just do a voiceover. Like if you want to be a filmmaker, you go really try. My two friends that helped me make my film, No Homecoming, that's the one I won all the awards for. In film festivals. They went to Tuskegee. One of them is an accountant, I believe, and the other one is an engineer. You know what I mean? So sometimes a lot of your friends might have an interest in filmmaking, but you won't know. Sometimes they don't know unless you ask. I shot a film with my friends last summer. I was like, hey, look, I went home. I said, I need y'all to do all the stuff because my friends at home, they're very supportive. No matter what I want to do, they're going to always support me. I said, yo, I'm trying to shoot this film. But like, hey, what you need us to do? I said, hey, man, I need you to hold the camera. I need you to do this and I need you to do that. And then after we shot, they're like, hey, bro, this is mad fun. Like, we should do this again. And I realized a lot of natural talent between some of my friends. One of them, I realized he can direct very well because we were trying to get this scene where this car's coming down the street. He's like, nah, I had the camera pointed towards here, have him come this way. I'm like, hey, bro, you're kind of a natural director. Some of them, I realized one of them was a natural actor. We didn't have no script, and he did it flawlessly. I was like, bro, like, there is some talent. So sometimes you just got to get your friends involved, just do it. Just ask some people like, hey, look, bro, can you be in one of my films? Can you do my things? Like, I'm shooting scripts right now for Max. And I have all my friends in it. They say, hey, bro, this is fun. Like, let's keep doing this, It gets them really involved, really get them really engaged. And after a while, it doesn't seem like a job. It just seems like something to occupy your time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's a good thing too, to like help other people out here who are making films, even though you're not directing it or whatever. You're not gonna find what you like to do within filmmaking, photography. If you're behind the camera all the time, I think you should get in front of the camera and experience what that's like, because you might find out you like it, or it'll help you with directing behind the camera as well. So I don't think you should stick to shooting your own stuff all the time. Definitely help other people
Yeah.
too.
That's like, for me, is that I really want to get into acting, but I was like, I don't even know, I can't even find a single person to even work a camera. So I was like, hey, if you want to get in industry, to me, if you want to get in industry, you got to learn how to do the stuff behind the scenes. You got to learn how to work the camera, learn how to write, learn how to direct, because it opens doors of opportunities for you. Think about it, if you go on set and you want to be an actor, well, there's also 200,000 other people who want to be actors. What if they need somebody to DP and you know how to DP? Boom, you can stay on set, and then you make, connections with people, network with other people. So they may bring you in like, hey, look, we got this role. I think you work better for it. You know what I'm saying? Because that all revolves around who you know. Like I said, it's hard to stand out when it's 200,000 either for y'all. But if you know how to, if you have a skill set, you stand out easily. Like if you want to model, learn how to be a photographer too. Learn how to do lighting. I'm telling you right now, that's what I did. Like I said, I want to act, but I also like cinematography. I didn't want to do filmmaking as a job. It was a creative outlet, but it opened doors of opportunity.
All right, we're having some technical issues, but our storage is running up, our mics are dying, so we're just going to wrap this up. So thank you, Spencer, for joining us today. Is there anything you want to talk about? Give some inspiration to the artists in the last 30 seconds we have left.
Not for right now. You'll catch me in another video, give you some inspiration only because technical difficulties. Thank you for having me. Appreciate y'all, UE Productions.